Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alex, what's up, man?
Not much.
Every time you're wearing this shirt, I always think it's just a Hooters shirt. And then I remember that it's a Pool Kids shirt.
Because of how much time I spent there.
Or
At least used to before they went bankrupt. I was raised on those chicken wings, man.
Have you ever been to a Hooters?
No.
I really didn't think this was going to start here. This is not how I meant to start the cold open. God damn it. I was going to start the cold open by telling you about how I went to vote early yesterday because I don't have a job. So I just went in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last opportunity to say on the pod that I don't have a job. So I'm just really soaking it up.
That's how you get off just protesting all the time, right? You just hop from one, like you go vote, you go like protest something, you go back, cast another vote.
Yes.
Go to the evening protest.
I think voter fraud jokes are still really funny. I laugh at every single one.
I don't know if you're being earnest or not.
No, I am being earnest. No, I was going to tell you about how I went to go vote yesterday, and my polling place was in a Masonic temple.
Nice.
And I thought, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
We don't talk enough about the Freemasons, I think.
No, I think you're right.
That was just guys being dudes. That was the third place.
Well, great take. Great take. I actually was going to say that it was the original manosphere.
There you go.
But a slightly more political, slightly less, hyper toxic manosphere. But it wasn't manosphere, right? I think
it was. It was a man cave.
Freemasons.
Yeah.
What do you know about the Freemasons?
I know it was a secret society.
Not that secret anymore, brother.
Well, not that secret anymore. This is a really show my hand here, but I first learned about them because I was a big Blink-182 fan.
Let's go.
And
wait, you were a big Blink-182? Right, Are you kidding me?
And the kind of insufferable arena rock band started by Tom DeLonge, Angels and Airwaves.
Oh, they're the worst.
Used a lot of free, I didn't think so at the time, used a lot of Freemasonry imagery. Like their logo featured
the sword, the triangle, or the diamond situation.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, is this something I should like get into? Like, is this something I should learn about? Like one of my favorite artists seems to support it.
One of my favorite artists.
Angels and Airways.
Sure.
You're laughing, but that genuinely, and then I was like, what the hell is this logo? Oh, it's a secret society that was around like 100 years ago. What did they talk about? They're like, how many moons do you think there are?
They also talked about, I don't know. I get the sense that they were like big social fabric people, like we're trying to hold institutions together behind the scenes.
Right.
Here, we adhere to our values behind closed doors so that we could keep our institutions of power pure.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I get from the Freemasons, and I don't know if that's really true or not.
Yeah. 785-422-5881 if you are a part of the Masonic Church.
Is it a church? I always thought it was just a society.
I think it is a society.
Well, it's a controversial thing to call it a church.
Why?
Well, because religion, comes with its own whole set of controversies.
Right. I guess. What is a place where a bunch of people, like-minded people, went to gather and congregate and like talk about their ideas to the world?
Okay, well, this is a really fitting place to start this because what would I do if I wanted to know more about the Freemasons? Is I would just go to the Wikipedia page and I would read it cover to cover. Something that I do pretty often. On today's podcast,
read the Freemasons page cover to cover.
No, if I had, I would know more to tell you. I would know way more to tell you, except from what I've gleaned from National Treasure, National Treasure 2, and National Treasure. No, there is no National Treasure 3, but there should be.
There should be.
I feel like Nick Cage is open to that.
Do the Freemasons still have like political weight? Like, is that something they should lobby for?
I feel like...
Do the Freemasons have a super PAC?
I feel like job well done, sort of. They kind of infiltrated every major institution in America, from what I understand, but I don't really know. I don't know. But what I was saying was that this is a great place to start this podcast, because today on the podcast, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're banking an episode here, and we wanted to try something fun that we've been, I don't know, cooking up on and off for the last few years about a way to do this in podcast form. Listen, something that you and I both do that I think is a core experience for people around our age, especially, but of all ages, is going down a Wikipedia rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. You like to go down a YouTube rabbit hole as well. You start at Andrew Tate and see how far you can get from there.
Exactly.
But
6 degrees of Lex Friedman.
No, now you've been crushing a lot of Tucker, right?
That's
his Russian-backed news organization.
Right. Do you want to bring in our first guest, Ted Cruz, to talk about why it is God's mandate that he's booed at every Astros game he goes to?
No, I'd like to not do that. I'd like to keep that man as far away from this podcast as possible, literally or figuratively. Going down a Wikipedia rabbit hole, it's a hard experience to recreate, but we're going to try to do it here on the podcast. So we're going to play a little game. This is a game that my friends and I used to play in middle school all the time when we would have laptops in class. You remember that, when they would roll in a laptop cart into your class? That was something that we did back in the day, because not everyone just had a computer in their pocket.
I don't think we had laptops rolled into us. There was a computer lab, right?
Well, we had computer lab in elementary school, and I think there was one in our high school, but then we also had like rotating laptop carts.
Okay, bougie.
I went to public school, bro. You went to private school, all right?
They did make everyone buy iPads at one point, so...
Really?
Yeah.
They made you buy your own iPad?
I mean, I think they were like, if you don't want to, we'll find other ways for you. But they were like, we will be distributing some materials on here.
Yeah, we'll give you a fucking spaced notebook, plebe.
Exactly.
No, they would roll in laptops. They would roll in a laptop cart, and it would be like 30 of them, or like 24 of them, or whatever. And like 9 of them wouldn't work. 4 of them would work, but the mouse pad, because they were ThinkPads, the little mouse dot in the middle didn't work very well. And so you were always like trying to have to click up and down to scroll back and forth. And we would do like a computer assignment, and then we would plug it back into the laptop cart, and then they would roll it to the next classroom. But anyway, one thing that me and my friends used to do is we would play what we called the Wikipedia game, where one person would call out a Wikipedia page and another person would call out a different Wikipedia page. And you'd have to start at one, and only clicking hyperlinks, you'd have to get to the other. So you'd go on a journey. Obviously, you were rewarded for clicking one that got you closer to the place that you were trying to get, but it was about how fast you could go. Mm-hmm. And I think none of us really knew about Command F at the time, but if I had known about that to search the page, I feel like I would have waxed everybody. Maybe there was a rule against not doing that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, but we're going to try to do that today on the podcast with baseball terms. However, we're going to have like a short list of things, pages that we want to hit along the way. It'll make a little bit more sense when we talk through the rules in just a minute. But I don't know, man. Hope you guys like it. That's the pod today. Before we get into it, I'm Bobby Wagner.
I'm Alex Baisley.
And you are listening to Tipping Pitches. Real quick, this week's new patrons, thank you so much to Jake, to Carter, to Joseph. Is your brain like my brain when I see that we have new patrons and I see their names? I try to think of baseball players who had those names.
No.
Jake Peavy.
No, I don't.
Joe Carter.
Specifically with not like any name you come across in the world, just our patrons.
Yeah, well, I'm in the baseball mindset.
Okay,
as you guys are about to hear, we're going to talk so much ball.
Arguably the most ball we've ever discussed.
Yo, real quick, can I tell you, we have not had so much feedback on Spotify in the comments. It's like literally 5 comments, but we've never gotten that many comments on the Spotify platform. It was split decision, I would say, about whether or not the John Boy bit was good.
And another thing, don't put in the papers that I'm mad.
I don't know why people are.
We're just having fun here. I don't know what to tell you.
We're coming into the marketplace of ideas with the knowledge, again, that comedy is legal again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Satire is legal. Okay. The Wikipedia game. I briefly explained it. Should we go over some of the kind of guidelines of what we're doing here?
Sure.
So we're each going to share 3 things. Whatever you share first is where whatever I share first is where we'll start. And whatever you share first is where we'll finish. And everything else
what I share first we'll finish with? And then we'll pick the intermediate ones?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Because those are the only 2 fixed points on the paths. We need to hit everything else along the way, but we don't know. We're going to be clicking through hyperlinks on Wikipedia and talking about each of the pages as we go along. So we'll see how that goes. There's not going to be like a time limit per page,
Which is, frankly, a dangerous proposition for us.
I got a couple hours before I got somewhere to be. I got 2 hours cleared out right now for this pod.
That was the sound of a collective sigh being let out by the listeners of Tipping Pitches.
There are no other rules besides the fact that we have to start at the one that I say, and we have to finish at the one that you say, and we have to hit the other ones along the way only by clicking hyperlinks on Wikipedia. And we're going to talk through it as we go through, mentioning which pages we're on.
Are the information box like on at the top of the page? Are those fair game as well? Or
Any hyperlink on the page.
In the content. Okay. All right.
Any hyperlink on the page is fair game.
Okay.
But mind you, we're trying to make an entertaining podcast here.
Right.
So here's where I'd like us to start. Raphael Devers.
Okay. Great.
Because we got to talk about that a little bit. Because that was the biggest news of the last week, and so we're playing a dumb game, but also trying to entertain people here, who like baseball. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. Where are we going to end?
We are going to end on DraftKings.
Oh, that doesn't feel like it's that hard. DraftKings. Well, I'm not trying to put the cart ahead of the horse here, but come on, bro. Come on. Political Action Committee.
Well, hey, save it for the later part of the pod.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's what else I'd like to hit along the way. Internal brace surgery.
Do we have to go? Sorry, I should have asked this. It just took me a second to process what you just said. Do we have to go in a specific order?
No. The middle can be any order that we want to.
I see. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Because everyone at home is probably asking too.
Right. Sorry, can you just repeat what you said? Internal brace
surgery. Internal brace.
Got it. All right.
That is we'll get to this, but that's a type of Tommy John surgery.
Uh-huh.
Internal brace is the type of UCL surgery that one. I don't know why I'm trying to act like we're not allowed to say anything that we might discuss in the future, but it's the type of reconstruction surgery that Otani got.
Got it. All right.
Now, listen, I don't know if internal brace has its own Wikipedia page, so I'm going to count it if we get anywhere to UCL replacement or Tommy John or anything of that nature.
Do you want to pick? Should we pick a specific page that we have to get to, or just like anything vaguely elbow related?
Anything vaguely UCL surgery related will count. How about that?
All right. We'll play it by ear.
All right. What's your first
one? My first one is the Knickerbocker rules. These were was the set of rules that supposedly, so the story goes, laid the foundation for the first official rule book for Major League Baseball.
Okay, great. My next one is Oracle, the company.
Okay. I feel like that's going to be easier to get to than it'll be to get away from.
Yeah. Hey, that's the challenge.
But that's the game.
I'll tell you more about why I chose that when we get to it. And what's your final one?
My final one is the page on the commissioner of baseball.
Okay.
I want to be very clear, not Rob Manfred.
Okay.
Right? This is the page that sort of summarizes the history of the role and the legends who have sat in that hallowed seat.
I've spent quite a bit of time on the Rob Manfred Wikipedia page.
Nice, that's right.
A lot of time reading about Rome, New York. And Woodstock 99. I should have put Woodstock 99 in my list. All right. So as a reminder for people at home, Alex and I, feel free to click along at home if you have really nothing better to do. But Alex and I are going to start on the Rafael Devers Wikipedia page. And we're going to talk our way through all the way until we reach the DraftKings Wikipedia page. And we have to hit UCL reconstruction or UCL surgery or internal brace surgery, whatever qualifies. Knickerbocker rules, Oracle, the company, and the commissioner of baseball page. Are you ready?
I am so ready. I'm locked and loaded.
Okay, great. So I wanted to start on Devers because we needed a way to work in something newsy into this ridiculous idea that we're doing here.
Yeah.
Bro, the fallout from this trade is gnarly. And I've heard from a baseball perspective, I've honestly heard compelling cases on both sides of the aisle. I think it's pretty hard to defend the trade on paper because they didn't really get something back, a player back that jumps off the page as someone who's like, okay, this is like a blue chip guy. Kyle Harrison, probably the best individual player currently that they received in return. Maybe Jordan Hicks can move back to the bullpen for the Red Sox or something, whatever. The big thing that they got back is salary relief, and that's a really tough thing to sell to your fans in particular when the fans are not really sure how or when or who you're going to spend that on.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some people being like, are the Red Sox going to go all in for Kyle Tucker now? So it's a little hard to judge the Red Sox side of the trade until we see whether or not they do anything with that salary relief. Like if you just wanted to reshuffle the team or whatever, and you didn't think that Rafael Devers was the guy you wanted to be the cornerstone of your franchise anymore, first of all, dumb decision to give him $300 million 2.5 years ago. But hey, sunk cost fallacy is something that we understand baseball front offices to care about.
And it was a different regime at the time. So I'll give them credit for that.
But everything about feel is the word that we've heard thrown around a lot. But really just the optics of how the situation was handled. You got fucking June Lee going on NBC reporting that they're using AI to interview candidates and the Red Sox denying this claim. You got sniping on Zoom leaking out about how different employees within the Red Sox don't like Craig Breslow. It's just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And when we talked about this last week, we didn't really know any of this stuff and we hadn't heard any of the Breslow quotes, which are, I don't know how else to put it. They're like mealy-mouthed nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you trade the best player on your team, not only do you trade a guy that you gave $330 million 24 months ago because you were reeling from the mistake of trading away Mookie Betts, the best player that you've had in like 50 years. But then you also don't really have a plan to sell that move, which feels like it should be the easiest part of the equation, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you have Sam Kennedy, the president of the team, coming out and basically saying, hey, we're not going to get every decision right, which is, I think, not what you want to hear your team president saying 48 hours after you traded the biggest star the team has had in, 5 years.
Yes.
You want them to come out with some level of, we know this is hard to swallow for some folks, but rest assured, there actually is something driving this, rather than already discounting it and being like, we know this might not work out. It's really not a great look for a franchise, especially a franchise who has had a really tough few years and is finally maybe back in a position where it seems like they actually are building something for the future, right? And they're hovering around 500 as our online friend Liam Fennessy puts it. It's just absolute mid, right? The purest mid possible. But that means you can go in either direction. One of those directions is up. Is this move contributing to that? I don't know. We'll see.
Not without whatever comes next, if there is something that comes next. But I actually, to your point about the fact that they seem like they're trying to turn things around and they're trying to build towards a coherent future, I think you're probably alluding to the fact that they have this youth movement now, and you can kind of squint and see if you add solid veteran pieces around the big three, the prospects, who are now, by the way, all of a sudden, all in the majors. So clock's ticking literally and figuratively. Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Meyer. It's I can understand how they are selling a coherent vision of the future. I don't necessarily know that I trust this group of people to put that into action. Because since 2018, it's been a lot of noise leading to not a lot of, to use an audio term, signal. We have not found a lot of like the direction. It's been a loud 500. There's a lot of teams who are like quietly 500 for a decade at a time. This has been the loudest possible 500 team for the last couple of years. Like,
red Netflix doc, like Devers trade, all these things that have happened.
Wiki trade, not offering Bogarts the extension, which turned out to be like they've gotten some lucky breaks along the way. I don't know, man. By the way, I've been scrolling Devers' Wikipedia page to get back to the game this whole time.
Yeah, same.
I don't think that I've ever heard anyone. His nickname is Carita, which means baby face, which is a good nickname for him because he does have a baby face, even though it's stuffed full of dip and gum and just an ungodly concoction of sunflower seeds and chewing tobacco and gum and God only knows what else. But I've never heard anyone call him that. But that's what he wore on the back of his jersey for Players Weekend in 2019. Remember when we did that?
Vaguely.
That was kind of a half-assed execution, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, though, in theory.
I agree.
Should we make our next? Should we go on this journey together?
I think we should.
I think from Devers, there's a relatively easy place to go to,
and that is, I was going to try to get to the Tommy John or the internal brace because I see Bryce Harper on the list here.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Oracle because he plays for the Giants.
Well, yes, two roads diverge in the forest. Would you like to take the one less traveled? I actually don't know which one is less traveled here. Let's go to Oracle.
All right.
We can get back to UCL reconstruction pretty quickly if we go to Oracle. All right. So we're clicking on, to be clear, we're clicking on the hyperlink San Francisco Giants.
That's correct. That is what I just clicked on.
Okay, great. Now that's a baseball team.
That's,
And then we're clicking on Oracle Park.
I think so. Well, see, I was going to go through and see if there is a discussion of Oracle purchasing the naming rights for a more direct path.
Okay.
But if you'd prefer, I guess we have not deemed this a competition.
Everything's a competition in life. I'm just kidding. I feel like there's probably not an explanation of what Oracle is or does on the Giants Wikipedia page. And actually, you know what? That's part of why I wanted to put Oracle on my list, because I'm going to be in San Francisco next week. And I think I'm going to attend Oracle Park at some point because they're home. And I don't know what they do. I don't know what that is. And it's like, I feel like I should at least like kind of know what every company involved in Major League Baseball is and does.
Yep.
Are they like, my prediction before we get to their Wikipedia page is like, are they SaaS? Are they doing SaaS? Are they B2B, bro?
I think there is something about SaaS. I think there's something about the cloud. I was with someone the other day.
There's something about the cloud.
Something about the cloud in there. I was... someone asked me, who's Larry Ellison? Like, what is he famous for? And I was like,
Good question.
I don't really know.
Good question, bro.
Okay, so we've clicked on Oracle
I know that
Park.
his kids are famous to me for funding some good movies with their money.
There you go.
Thank you from the fine folks, Ralph Ellen and Megan Allison. I don't want to know what you think about anything in the world besides cutting a check to fucking Tom Cruise.
Is there anything
or
on
Barry
Oracle?
Jenkins?
Is there anything on Oracle Park you want to discuss before we move through?
So we are clicking Oracle Park then.
Yeah, yes, I couldn't find a more direct link.
Okay, great. No, not really. Beautiful park. Good for them. We can pretty quickly get to the Oracle Corporation from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oracle
I'm just reading about the left field chevron banner and the issues it poses for the ground rules at Oracle Park.
No, please enlighten us. Please, this is what the game's all about. We're supposed to go down the rabbit holes. Do you remember when that guy was like, I own the balls that land in the water?
Uh-huh.
McCovey Cove Dave.
Oh,
hey,
fuck.
wait.
We should have included him on there.
I know. Oracle Park opened on March 31st, 2000, my 4th birthday.
Oh,
how nice.
HBD from Chuck J to you.
Chucky.
Actually, I think he may not have been the owner at that point.
No, I don't think he was.
I was looking.
Here we go. The naming rights section.
Mm.
Used to be Pac Bell.
Yeah, it used to be a lot of things.
Then SBC Community. A question that I have is, why do these naming rights change so often?
Right.
Like, sign a longer lease, brother.
I do think part of it was because Pac Bell or Pacific Bell became like absorbed by AT&T or something like that. There were like corporate mergers that were happening at the top, and the naming rights just kind of had to follow suit.
Okay, so then it became AT&T Park then?
Yeah, so Pac Bell was the telephone company.
Is that how a merger happens?
Is bought by SBC, which then buys AT&T, but dude, the thing about mergers is that they don't make any fucking sense.
When you have a merger, does that mean that everywhere that used to be the first business then gets renamed to the second business?
It depends. Is it a merger or is it a reverse merger?
I don't. You just threw something at me. I have no idea what that is. What is that? A reverse merger?
I think that's when like the smaller company technically like absorbs the bigger company.
Okay.
And takes. I could be wrong with this. Should we include reverse merger on our journey?
Listen, I know what a bear hug is because of Succession.
Uh-huh.
I could tell you about that. No, I mean, maybe reverse merger would be a good one if we were just playing this, not baseball related.
That's fair. All right. Should we make our way to Oracle then?
Yeah, let's do it. Oracle Corporation is an American multinational computer technology company headquartered in Austin, Texas, co-founded in 1977 in Santa Clara, California by Larry Ellison, who remains executive chairman. Oracle was the third largest software company in the world in 2020 by revenue and market cap. The company's 2023 ranking in the Forbes Global 2000 was number 80. Here's what they sell: database software and cloud computing.
Something with the cloud. I told you. Their core application software is a suite of enterprise software products such as enterprise resource planning, human capital management. I love managing my human capital. Customer relationship management.
What service do we use for our human capital management?
Palantir.
Oh, right. And Slack.
Enterprise performance management. CX commerce. Supply chain management.
Oh, I know all about CRM though, bro. You're about to get to that. CRM, right?
Yeah, the customer relationship management. Yeah. I love a good CRM.
Yeah.
I objectively do.
Which one of us is in charge of CRM here?
I think you're the one who reads the names at the beginning, so you?
Now, okay. Back to my choosing Oracle for our journey, to plot our journey here. I still kind of don't understand what they do, and I understand even less why they need to be involved in so many sports things. Why are they the naming sponsor of Oracle Arena where the Warriors play, Oracle Park where the Giants play? Why is everything in the Bay Area seemingly like tangential to Oracle? You're you, Alex Baisley, from the Bay Area. Explain to me why Oracle has such a large footprint in your hometown.
Because they have a lot of money in a place that is kind of built on having a lot of money.
Is he? Oh, it was founded in Santa Clara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like, it's like from the Bay Area.
I see.
I love this. I love this little line. The name Oracle Systems Corporation also drew from the code name of a 1977 project for one Central Intelligence Agency, Oracle's first customer.
Are you for real? How many companies in American life right now's first and foremost customer is just the CIA?
Right. Well, so us, Oracle,
Palantir, Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, man. I'm reading about their software. Oracle's e-delivery service provides generic downloadable Oracle software and documentation. This is all, every time I read an explanation of what something that a company does is it's all closed loop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how when you read the definition of a word, they also use that same word in the
Exactly.
definition. You're like, well, I don't know what this is still. They have something called Oracle Beehive. It has its own Wikipedia page.
Okay.
It combines email, team collaboration, instant messaging, and conferencing in a single solution. It sounds like Microsoft Teams.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which you are a big fan of, right?
Which I'm a huge fan of. Oh, customers can use Beehive as a licensed software or software as a service.
What is the difference between a licensed software and software as a service? Licensed means you have to license it to use it on your machine, and software as a service means you just have to have access to the internet.
That sounds absolutely correct.
Yeah, accessed via a web application, unlike software delivery models where you have to license it as a software. Damn. His mind. I was trying to scroll. I got distracted by the different explanations of all of their softwares, of which I understand none of. Except that they have a bunch of data centers all over the United States.
Mm-hmm. And in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Well, where else would you put it? I mean, a data center that needs to stay cool because of all of the heat put off by computing. You want that to be in somewhere like Saudi Arabia, which is all desert. Oh, I wanted to get down to controversies on this page, but I'm too distracted by slogans. Here are all the slogans that they've had over the years. I'm obsessed with company slogans, by the way. They started off with information driven. That's the slogan. For the Oracle database, they had a slogan called "Can't break it, can't break in,"
which actually comes up in the controversies section.
And unbreakable.
Uh-huh.
They also have a slogan that says "Enabling the information age." I mean, I feel really enabled within the information age. Enabling the information age through network computing.
Okay.
So they were like, the other one was not long enough. As of 2008, they've had a slogan, "The Information Company." As of 2010, "Software, hardware, complete." These are some of the worst slogans I've ever seen. As of late 2010, "Hardware and software engineered to work together." And as of mid 2015, super specific, "Integrated cloud applications and platform services."
Oh my God. That rolls off the tongue.
Bro. What are these slogans?
I think we just have to accept the fact that these slogans are not meant for us. They are not meant for you and I, Bobby.
But this is a question that I have a lot of the time. And frankly, most of the time it's when I'm watching sports. When I see a commercial for something or when I see who chooses to sponsor a stadium or a broadcast or whoever, I'm like, what is the purpose of spending tens of millions of dollars on advertising a product that is not a consumer product? This is a business product. Are you trying to reach the sports fan who owns a tech company that needs SaaS? And you decided to go through the San Francisco Giants.
I mean, no, I do. I think part of it is like it's a billboard for your company, right? Ideally, you probably don't just want your average baseball fan to buy the product, but you probably want some tech mogul who's like, I see Oracle's name around a lot, so they seem pretty trustworthy.
Our average tech moguls, don't answer this question, by the way. Our average tech moguls' minds that small where they're like, well, this must be the best option because they own the Giants or whatever.
You don't want me to answer that question.
No, I don't want you to answer that question. I also understand, by the way, for you folks listening at home who are screaming this, I also understand the fact that this is just like consent manufacturing and a place to park a lot of your money.
Yeah.
You're normalizing the size and scope of your business by associating with things that have much more positive reputations like sports teams. I get that. But when I'm watching MLB.TV and the ad is for Google Cloud Service, AWS, I'm like, no one watching this needs this. You're literally just burning money. Like that could be, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to sound crazy here, but that could be like you could pay that money in taxes or something. That could actually be useful.
I imagine part of it also is like, we should take this space so a competitor doesn't. I think there's a line up here on their marketing practices that talks about how for them it was not enough for Oracle to win; they needed their competitors to lose, which is awesome. And how we think about podcasting.
I mean, yeah, every listener of Staffcast is dead to me. All right, controversies.
There's a lot of them. We just simply cannot talk about them all. Do you want to read? Should we read the headers?
Yeah.
There is Trashgate.
Okay.
Off to a good start. There is Can't Break It, Can't Break In, which they got in trouble for because turns out you could break into it.
Oracle paid janitors to look through Microsoft's trash? That's Trashgate? Bro. That is fire. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry, I'm really slowing us down.
No, it's fine. Relationship with U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft.
No, I'm sure good stuff.
Expeditionary Combat Support System, United States Air Force project. Cover organ healthcare. It yielded
no
exchange.
Significant capability. They failed the U.S. Air Force. That's the controversy.
It's awesome that each of these controversies actually touches like a very distinct economic sphere in the world, you know?
Well, I mean, when you have SaaS like this, there's nowhere it can't go.
Class action tracking lawsuit, deliberate and purposeful surveillance of the general population, Heritage Foundation database of employees for the Republican administration.
Let's go.
Violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and then it lists like 7 different countries.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 different countries.
6 countries. Mm-hmm.
If you're going to violate the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act once, you might as well do it 6 times.
Right, exactly. Because now you know how it works.
In for a penny, in for a pound, I always say.
And then ownership of the JavaScript trademark, which is not a very fun one to end. Yeah,
one of these things is not like the other. All right, okay. I think we should move on from Oracle. Thanks to everybody for listening to that. But where do we go from here?
Well, I think the problem is that
we've hit a little bit of a dead end here.
Only one way out.
And that's through, I always say. Oh, wait, no, I got an idea.
Okay.
So they were accused of fraud here, it says, by the U.S. Department of Justice. So we could click on United States Department of Justice. And that might take us down a path where we could get to Commissioner of Major League Baseball pretty quickly.
Interesting. Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe not, though, because the DOJ page might be really filled up with stuff and baseball might not make the cut.
Right. That's my fear.
I have no idea how we're going to get to Knickerbocker rules. You're crazy for that one. You are crazy for that one.
Is there a rule that we cannot go back to pages that we've done? Like we can't exit on the Giants. Yeah, entered on the Giants.
Yeah, I think doubling back is kind of loser shit.
I agree.
Okay, good. I see Google. We could click on Google. Is that going to take us anywhere closer?
I mean, do we divide and conquer at this point, or is that against the rules?
Dividing. I think that will just confuse the listeners. Securities and Exchange Commission. Let's go there. Let's go to Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay.
Because we could get to Steve Cohen, I bet. And then back to baseball.
Or, that's true. I was going to say, or the Supreme Court of the United States.
Oh, there's a Supreme Court?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But again, the Supreme Court has so much history. I mean, we know that Steve Cohen paid the biggest fine in the history of SEC, so I feel like it's going to be on. He's going to be on there.
That's true. All right, let's do it.
Bad news. He's not on here. How about?
Is there like a? But is there like a
trading?
violation? Right. Yeah. What about perhaps hedge fund?
That's you're talking
I'm on the SEC's page. If we go to hedge fund, we will get to Steve Cohen.
I like how you go SEC, you go to hedge fund, you go to notable hedge fund managers, and it's just a murderer's row of some of the most fascinating people for you and me. Like we got David Tepper on here. We got John Paulson, friend John Paulson,
old friend, yeah. George Soros,
who pays your salary,
right? Kenneth Griffin. Oh my God.
Wait, who's Kenneth Griffin? I don't know. I'm not familiar with his work. Stephen Mandel, I know, of course. Tiger Management.
He owns Citadel. I think he was on the other side of the GameStop scandal.
Oh, he was shorting.
Like, he was
And so Cohen was the one who went in to back him up.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Before we move on from hedge fund, anything on here that you want to talk to?
A lot, really.
Okay, great.
But should we talk about the different types of arbitrages you can do? What's your favorite arbitrage?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm a relative value arbitrage guy myself. Which is obviously the attractiveness measured in terms of risk, liquidity, and return of one financial asset relative to another. I mean, like all things, it's all relative. I think that's what Einstein meant.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I'm more of a non-fixed income arbitrage guy.
And to you, that means?
Well, it's the opposite of a fixed income arbitrage. And I can explain what that is because that one's hyperlinked.
This is a crazy Wikipedia page. Everything is in quotation marks on the hedge fund page. It's all like known as discretionary / qualitative,
right?
Known as systematic / quantitative. Described as, quote, absolute return. Classified as either, quote, market neutral or, quote, directional. Like, it's making it seem like this is a different language.
I know. I mean, I always love seeing what's down on the See Also pages,
Okay.
Like what's their next recommended reading, like activist shareholder or vulture fund or naked capitalism.
I think I know what vulture fund is.
I think so too.
I think I have some firsthand experience with those.
All right. Should we go ahead and go to Steve Cohen?
Yeah, no, let's go to Steve Cohen.
We still, if I have this correct, we've still only gotten to one of the 4 stops along the road that we need to get to.
Correct.
We have been recording for an hour.
That's not that long.
No, I don't think so.
That's not that long. We've talked enough about Steve Cohen. All I want to say is, as we're here on his Wikipedia page, some quick highlights. He grew up in Great Neck, which is a legendary Long Island town. He went to the University of Pennsylvania, which is 30 minutes from my childhood home.
Mm-hmm.
He paid the largest fine in SEC history, which is galling that he wouldn't be able to be linked directly from the SEC page. That's just bad work by Wikipedia.
It is.
And the photo that they have chosen for him is insane. He's wearing like a July 4th Mets hat on his head.
It's also very, like, this was clearly taken on an iPhone, but it was used to be a much bigger photo, and they have cropped out the rest of the photo.
Yes, exactly.
It's not like a zoomed in photo. It's just a low quality crop.
It's like smoothed over too.
Yeah.
Just sort of galling choice. Wikipedia is kind of famous for its bad photos. All right. Let's click. Do you want to go to? No, we should just go directly to Major League Baseball.
I think we should. I think that's a good place to reground ourselves.
All right, sounds good. We're back to Major League Baseball,
Mm-hmm.
which is, of course, the new owner of this podcast. And thankfully, in the second paragraph of Major League Baseball, we do have a hyperlink for the commissioner of baseball. So let's, in the interest of time, let's go straight to the commissioner of baseball. Because the MLB Wikipedia page, we could spend an hour here.
Absolutely.
Now, why did you want to choose commissioner of baseball? What are we trying to find out here?
I don't know that I'm trying to find anything out. I think that this is a list of our guys. Right? Like, I think what is really sort of interesting to me, actually, about this is the owner's quote coup section on here.
Oh, okay.
Which
you seem very familiar with this. That's what Kennesaw Mountain Landis looked like? Bro, he looks like he looks like Bill Clinton, but if someone was trying to suck the life out of him. like in a movie where someone's like sucking your soul away and your eyes start to sink in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to distract.
I think that it's like this is a sort of interesting look at how ownership power has coalesced and consolidated over the last like 2 decades.
Yeah.
Really. Like, because when you go through this page, you see all these internal battles and wars, and many of them are fought out in the public eye, right? And they are fought through threats of taking the team to a different league, pressuring commissioners, all this stuff. By the time Selig gets in there, in 92, that's it. I mean, and that's kind of, I think, the role that he takes on, right? Is like, it's time for us to be united front on this.
Let's professionalize this operation. I find it, one of the things that I find fascinating in reading about the history of Major League Baseball is why different people along the way wanted to be appointed as commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Like Happy Chandler was a senator.
Yeah.
Kennesaw Mountain Landis was a judge, a federal judge. I don't really understand necessarily the link between those things, other than the fact that, baseball was pitched as this is America's pastime. This is a national institution. And I want to be seen as being in charge and almost impartial in charge of this national institution. Of course, that was always a lie that I think Marvin Miller goes to great lengths in his autobiography to point out, particularly with regards to Bowie Kuhn, who he dealt with the most for the longest. But even still, kind of nuts. Imagine right now. I mean, of course, I'm saying this and there's historical precedent for it, but imagine if, I don't know, instead of becoming Secretary of State, Marco Rubio had been like, I want to be commissioner of baseball.
Well, we almost got a George W. Bush commissioner of baseball.
Right, but that was before he was president.
No,
that was before he was
yes.
seeking higher off. He was, and that was before he was governor, right? Or was it after he was governor? Maybe we need to get to the George W. Bush page real quick.
I think he probably would have been governor by this time.
Okay, here we are. Owner's coup. This is under the owner's coup section.
Oh no, he wasn't the governor yet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? Why would you step back from being governor of Texas to be a largely ceremonial position who does whatever fucking John Henry wants? Like, that seems like a bad job. I mean, I know that the president mostly does what John Henry wants too, but still, at least you get to be president. You get to fly on Air Force One. You're commissioner of baseball. What do you fly on? Is there Air Force Rob?
I mean, I do think there's a level of prestige.
On. You can't sell my Air Force Rob, Joe. Come on.
That was good. I'll give it to you.
Nah, it wasn't that good.
I think throughout the 20th century, there was a level of prestige associated. No, I know. Right? It was like, you are the steward of the game. You are here to ensure that America's pastime persists.
Talk about history. A word that really only gets thrown around when you're talking about the baseball commissioner.
What?
Steward. You never steward your way to the grocery store. I'm not stewarding my car into this parking spot.
I don't know that that's really how you would use the word.
I'm stewarding this podcast.
You're Googling what the word steward means right now?
Yeah, a person who looks after the passengers on a ship, aircraft, or train and brings them meals. A person responsible for supplies of food to a college, club, or other institution.
What? That's a college club specifically?
College, club, or other institution.
It was like to a college club or any other institution. Weirdly specific.
Yeah, verb. Supervise arrangements or keep order at. Manage or look after. You're stewarding Stevie if you ever watch her for me.
Yeah. Right. That I think is closer to the truth.
I'm stewarding my car into this park. I'm looking after it. I'm sorry. You were talking about how The role used to be more prestigious or prestigious. Depends how you want to pronounce it. Something that you said the phrase owner's coup, it just broke something. Something changed in me.
I know.
You started talking about George W. Bush. A lot of people talk about George W. Bush becoming commissioner as like, oh, if only he had done that. And listen, I think George W. Bush is as evil or maybe even more evil than most presidents who have ever been president.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of don't, there's not like a panacea out there for our country had George W. Bush become commissioner of baseball. I think they would have found some other, they would have stewarded some other schmuck into the position and, Tricky Dick of the 21st century would have still found his way to start his wars. I don't know. That's just my take.
All right. Should we try and get somewhere else out of here?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we got to get to. We probably got to get to Knickerbocker rules from here.
I think so.
Otherwise, I don't know how else we're going to get there.
All right. Let's go. Should we go history of baseball in the United States?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Or the alternative path that we could take would be to go to the first commissioner, right? He would have been the one.
I think these are this is like before organized baseball exists.
Oh, okay, great. Sorry, I'm getting so distracted. Charlie Finley, that's my guy.
There are a lot of names.
Ford Frick, that's your guy.
Crazy that George Steinbrenner was just banned for life from baseball, and then they brought him back.
I know. That's the boss. All right. Oh, we got a hyperlink for hooliganism. Awesome. Kennesaw Mountain Landis worked to clean up the hooliganism that was tarnishing the reputation of players in the 1920s.
I'm so glad, too.
I know.
Hooliganism was running rampant.
His Bill Clinton looking ass. All right. History of baseball in the United States. Now we are really go. We're in deep. This water is eye level.
I mean, this is the kind of page that you get to find the rabbit holes. I think like this is where I love to end up. Like a good history of page,
bro.
There's so many options
for you. I have good news for you. Within the first 5 paragraphs, we have a hyperlink for
Hey,
Knickerbocker rules.
Let's go. Is there anything you want to talk about on the history of baseball page first?
Yeah, sure. I love baseball. I love
its history.
I love history. Just the history of baseball in the United States. I should have been reading the intro paragraph for all the pages that we went to. That would have been a nice touch. But we're finding it on the fly. The history of baseball in the United States dates to the 19th century when boys, and amateur enthusiasts played a baseball-like game by their own informal rules using homemade equipment. The popularity of the sport in amateur men's ball clubs were formed in the 1830s to 1850s. Semi-professional baseball clubs followed in the 1860s. And the first professional leagues arrived in the post-American Civil War. The earliest known mention of baseball in the United States is either, I love how these are all protested. Like every piece of baseball history is like, it could have been this or it could have been that. It's either a 1786 diary entry by a Princeton University student who describes playing, quote, based ball, B-A-S-T-E space ball, or a 17...
B-A-S-T-E?
Yes, that's what it says.
Okay, just making sure.
Or a 1791 Pittsfield, Massachusetts ordinance that barred the playing of baseball within 80 yards of the town meeting house and its glass windows. Another early reference reports that baseball was regularly played on Saturdays in 1823 on the outskirts of New York City in an area that today is Greenwich Village. Outskirts of New York City. Man, New York City used to be so tiny.
I know.
The Olympic Baseball Club of Philadelphia was organized in 1833. Well, 1786 sounds like the earliest years of those options.
Right.
Earliest year of those options. So sounds to me like that was the first one.
I think it's interesting on here. The very detailed table of contents talks about the rise of the major leagues, Warriors, racial integration in baseball. And then the era where the players unionize is just called Players Assert Themselves, which feels like it's understating what happened over those couple decades a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I haven't even had the table of contents section open because my window is too narrow. So I haven't even been looking at the
I have to click the button every time.
Yeah. Yeah, the subheaders are interesting. After players assert themselves, of course, comes the marketing and hype era. And then there's the steroid era. And then there's popularity in recent decades.
Which is empty. Right?
And summary of modern era major league teams. What do you think
summary in recent decades, which does make sure to call out the existence of Banana Ball.
Oh my God, bro. On the history of Major League Baseball page, we have Banana Ball.
See, this is what I'm saying.
This
Creeping
is not,
banana.
It's not. It's fine if you want a banana. Just do it where I don't have to watch it. Unbelievable.
Farce.
Summary of modern era Major League teams is really funny. It's just a timeline with a bunch of years as to when the teams joined.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the latest installment is 2025. Oakland Athletics moved to Sacramento. And with that, I think we should move on to the Knickerbocker rules. Okay, we're clicking on Knickerbocker rules. For those keeping track at home, we have gone from Rafael Devers to Giants to Oracle Park to Oracle Corporation to United States Securities and Exchange Committee to hedge fund to Steve Cohen to Major League Baseball to Commissioner of Baseball to history of baseball in the United States to Knickerbocker rules. What was on your mind when you chose this?
I mean, I want to be very clear. I came up with like 10 of the most random pages I could.
Yeah,
because
you're like Babe Ruth when it comes to this kind of shit.
Right. Well, I didn't want to make it too easy on us, right? If we just picked like players and teams, it's very easy to go American League, Oakland A's, back to the National League, New York Mets. So I wanted to make us work for it a little bit more, which is
a historical page describing something that is no longer.
Fuck me, man. I think my favorite part about the Knickerbocker rules is before it even gets into. I mean, there's the introductory paragraph. Yes. I'll read this paragraph.
Okay, let's try to read it at the exact same time.
The Knickerbocker rules are a set of baseball rules formalized.
Hang on. Let's start over. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
The Knickerbocker rules are a set of baseball rules formalized by William R. Wheaton. That's Will Wheaton of Star Trek fame. And William H. Tucker of the Knickerbocker Baseball Club in 1845. They've previously been considered to be the basis for the rules of the modern game, although this is disputed.
As all things are.
The rules are informally known as the New York style of baseball. That's how I like my baseball. New York style.
Hey, I'm fucking playing baseball.
Hold the bat in half before I hit it. You know, only way to do it. As opposed to other variants such as the Massachusetts game and Philadelphia Town Ball.
We're playing baseball down here. We're going down the shore. We're going to play baseball down the shore. I wasn't willing to try a Massachusetts accent.
The first section on this page is about the dispute about how modern scholarship basically considers none of this to be real.
I know. Even on the history
does
of
not
baseball
consider
page,
it to be the first.
Yes. On the history of baseball page, there was a section about how, a reporter about how Henry Chadwick, who is a famous sports writer, who was called the father of baseball for his early reporting and contributions to the history of baseball, developed a theory that it was evolved from a British game, an English game called Rounders, which was disputed by former character of the pod, Albert Spalding. And I'm just like, we just know nothing. So we just know nothing.
Right. Literally nothing about this sport.
And like everything that we do know is basically just takes. Like someone had a take on how this could have been possible. It makes me laugh because like future societies, when our societies are wiped off the planet, they'll discover pods such as these, and they won't know whether or not we were being faithful and true.
Exactly.
They'd be like, in 2025, they sold their company to Major League Baseball.
What I'm just hearing is that there's an opportunity for us to insert a different, new narrative as to the origins of this game.
I mean, if we can think of something that's compelling, then sure.
Some of these Knickerbocker rules are awesome. I just want to say.
Yeah, let's hear some.
Some fun ones. The game will consist of 21 counts or aces, but at the conclusion, an equal number of hands must be played. Of course, when I say that, you know exactly what I mean, right?
I mean, of course.
The ball must be pitched, not thrown for the bat.
I'm always saying that.
Right.
Bro,
you're like, this guy's not pitching, he's just throwing.
Yes, he's not a pitcher, he's a thrower. People still use that one.
Overhand pitching in baseball was not allowed until 1884. So the ball had to literally be pitched like a horseshoe. They were fucking underhanding it back then.
There was only 20 rules. Not like this
short and sweet,
bloated woke rule book that we have nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. This legislated game.
3 hands out, all out. You know, that's my favorite rule.
3 hands out, all out.
Yeah, I always say that. A player running the bases shall be out if the ball is in the hands of an adversary on the base, or the runner is touched with it before he makes his base, it being understood, however, that in no instance is a ball to be thrown at him. That's literally has not changed. That's still the rule. If a ball be struck or tipped and caught, either flying or on the first bound, it is a handout.
See, look, goddamn, fucking handouts. Left and right back then. Fake game.
No, this is actually great. It's still the same exact rule for a foul ball. A ball knocked out of the field or outside of the range of the first and third base is foul.
I really do like the phrasing of adversary, you know, like that to talk about the opposition.
Like
I think we should bring that back.
I agree. They are adversaries. So basically it was first team to 21. That's what aces was. They're now called runs. But aces were just runs, and it was the first team to get to 21 wins. That's gnarly. But yeah, I guess if you were playing underhand, it's basically like softball.
Right, exactly. But that rule that you called out earlier about how the runners get out, and that you can't throw the ball at a guy to get him out, is because that was allowed before that, right? It was like you were allowed to soak the runner, which just meant peg him.
Damn,
and you can hit him with a baseball as well.
Wow. Wild. I think we should bring back the fourth rule, which is the bases shall be from home to second base 42 paces, and from first to third base 42 paces equidistant. That sounds like a holy enough number to me. What's 60 feet 6 inches?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the bases are 90
42?
feet. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The bases are 90 feet now. I'm aware of this, people at home. Please do not inbox me, as the kids say. Okay, this was really fun. Thank you for choosing,
of course,
the Knickerbocker rules, which I didn't know anything about. All right, so where to now?
Well, I don't think we have a choice, right? We have to get to anything vague related to the UCL.
Oh, right.
So that we can end on DraftKings. We're kind of nearing the end here.
Yeah, we kind of are. I love to end on DraftKings. All right, I feel good about just going back to baseball for a hot minute.
And that is, to be clear, just baseball, not Major League Baseball.
Correct.
Okay.
Because we don't want to loop back. Okay, baseball is a bat and ball sport played between 2 teams of 9 players each. You know, sometimes you go to college. Well, you do your first 12 years of school. You go to college, you get a degree. You know, in our cases, we both have 2 majors in our degree. I don't know about you. I graduated from New York University cum laude. Put a lot of hard work.
I straight up don't remember when I graduated.
You do 7 years at a job in the labor force. You pay taxes. And all of that, 29 years of life, you find yourself reading the definition of baseball on a podcast. The game occurs over the course of several plays, with each play beginning when a player on the fielding team, called the pitcher, throws a ball that a player on the batting team, called the batter, tries to hit with a bat. I think we should click on pitcher. What do you say?
I'm down. I'm just seeing, because we have some like players and teams that are called out in some of the little sidebars. So I'm trying to see if there's any quicker way. But David Ortiz, Mookie Betts, Jackie Robinson.
I don't see Alex Rodriguez. David Ortiz.
Andrew Jones.
Okay.
Ricky Henderson, Cy Young.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this. Is tipping pitches anywhere
George Bush.
Tipping pitches, it's not anywhere on here.
Did you look? Oh, you did look. Okay.
Abbott and Costello. Peter Gammons. These are a few of my favorite things.
Michael Lewis.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It just lists a bunch of books written about baseball.
Right. What a fraud that guy is. Wow. Big San Pedro de Macorís shout out. Roberto Clemente.
I think you're right that going through pitchers maybe are cleanest.
I agree. I think we get there pretty quick.
Although I do like here in I do like under popular culture, baseball has had a broad impact on the popular culture in the United States and elsewhere. Dozens of English language idioms have been derived in baseball. In particular, the game is the source of a wide number of widely used sexual euphemisms. It does not list what any of them are.
Wait, are you for real?
I'm serious.
Can you
and now
name
I'm trying
a
to
sexual euphemism that baseball started?
Do we have to click on the page baseball metaphors for sex?
Yes,
because that's a real page.
I think that's the point of us doing an exercise like this.
This actually does make sense now that I see the page. Strikeout.
Where do you see that page?
I'm in popular culture on the baseball page.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm with you. Oh, euphemisms, sexual euphemisms. I see. Yes, I see.
Sorry, the page itself is called baseball metaphors for sex, but
right.
Like I said,
this is
makes
one
more
of my
sense.
pet peeves about Wikipedia, though, is that sometimes what's hyperlinked is not actually the name of the page; it's like named something different. Mm-hmm. Small pet peeve of mine. Okay, I'm on baseball metaphors.
I think that one is okay.
Oh, okay. I get it.
I got to first base. I got to second base. Yeah.
All right. That feels a little bit obvious.
Home run is full, parentheses, penetrative sexual intercourse.
Obviously, we've got pitcher and catcher.
It gets really specific.
I mean, people got to know.
I guess so. That is the point of Wikipedia.
It's sort of a short Wikipedia page. Can we go back? Well, now we've gone through baseball metaphors for sex, but we can also pick
a switch hitter.
We can click pitcher
for the other team.
Page too.
Oh, we can. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good because I want to make sure that this is included in our journey.
All right, pitcher.
Did you want to read the description for pitcher on this page?
In baseball, the pitcher is the player who throws pitches.
Oh, no, I meant on baseball metaphors for sex.
No, it's all right. We got it. You're slow in progress here. The baseball from the pitcher's mound towards the catcher to begin each play with the goal of retiring a batter who attempts to either make contact with the pitched ball or draw a walk. In the numbering system used to record defensive plays, the pitcher is assigned the number 1. The pitcher is often considered the most important player on the defensive side of the game, and as such is situated at the right end of the defensive spectrum. Okay? There are many different types of pitchers, such as the starting pitcher, relief pitcher, middle reliever, lefty specialist. Not anymore. Fucking Rob. Took the lefty loogie away from us. Setup man and the closer. Traditionally, the pitcher also bats. Starting in 1973, we stopped being American. The American League and spreading to further leagues throughout the 1980s and 1990s, the hitting duties of the pitcher have generally been given over to the position of the designated hitter. A cause of some controversy, the National League adopted the DH in 2022. As of 2025, the Japanese Central League is the highest level of competition to not use the designated hitter position. They know what they're fucking doing over there.
Go watch the Japanese Central League then. Bye.
I will. Bye. Okay. Clayton Kershaw is currently the header photo for pitcher, the Wikipedia page for pitcher. And he is also pitching against your New York Mets.
Jesus Christ.
in 2015, do you think that was when the Mets beat him twice in one National League Division Series?
I do, yeah.
Well, it's not because he pitched twice at Dodger Stadium, and this is a picture at Citi Field.
And it was on July 23rd.
Okay.
According to the metadata.
It all comes back to the Mets, baby.
The metadata. The Mets data. Okay.
I don't think people got it when you said the metadata, so I'm really glad that you clarified that it's the Mets data. That's funny. All right, we can pretty easily.
It's actually, I know we can pretty easily get to where we're going.
I know.
But it's also just really funny reading about things that I take for granted. A skilled pitcher often throws various pitches to prevent the batter from hitting the ball well. It's
in
true.
Major League baseball rubbing mud is used to condition game balls before pitchers use them. That's right, brother. That's exactly right.
The choices of pitchers on this page is like that they use for the pictures is pretty crazy. Clayton Kershaw, Kenta Maeda. That's a video of Kenta Maeda.
They were really into the mid-2010s Dodgers rotation.
A pitcher on the Navy baseball team?
Yes.
No, Noah Syndergaard pitching for the 2015 New York Mets. And Aaron Foltz and Rafael Betancourt warming up in the bullpen?
That's Rafael Betancourt's one of my guys.
I know.
That is one of my guys. Aaron Foltz is not a guy I remember, though.
No.
I'm going to be honest with you. He pitched in all or parts of 7 seasons for 5 big league teams. Yeah, fascinating.
Did you know that the pitcher's duty does not cease after he pitches the ball? I, of course, am in the section titled After the Ball is Pitched.
PFPs, bro. They know about PFPs.
Exactly.
They know all about PFPs.
The pitcher must attempt to field any balls coming up the middle.
And if you're Chris Sale trying to throw your first complete game in 3 years, you field any ball anywhere on the diamond against the New York Mets.
You do.
Okay. That takes us to the subcategory called pitching biomechanics, which I think is probably going to take us to where we need to go.
I think so.
Biomechanics of pitching are closely studied and taught by coaches at all levels and are an important field in sports medicine. Glenn Fleissig, a biomechanist who specializes in the analysis of baseball movement, says that pitching is, quote, the most violent human motion ever measured. He claims that the pelvis can rotate at 515 to 667 degrees per second. The trunk can rotate at 1,068 to 1,224 degrees per second. The elbow can reach a maximal angular velocity of 2,200 to 2,700 degrees per second, and the force pulling the pitcher's throwing arm away from the shoulder at ball release is approximately 200 pounds force.
See,
which is of course 1,200 newtons.
See, these are going back to our conversation. Nope, actually, that conversation has not been published yet, but it will this week. Going forward to our conversation with Mike Schubert.
Yep.
These are the stats I want to see at baseball games. I would like to know the amount of pounds force that is pulling the pitcher's throwing arm away from his shoulder.
I don't think there's any good way to know that. I mean, honestly,
how did Glenn Fleissig know it then?
They probably attached him to some sort of mechanism, some sort of pulley system. You want to do that for every?
Then?
Honestly, they probably can measure this.
I think they can
with Hawkeye. Honestly, reading all of that data about pitching makes me genuinely sad to remember. Just a couple of weeks ago, John Brinkus passed away, the sports science guy from ESPN. RIP to the GOAT. He was the GOAT. This is the type of stuff. I was trying to do my best John Brinkus homage right there.
That was good.
280 pounds force. That's enough force to squash a watermelon 10 times over or whatever.
That was good. You did well at that.
Thank you. And it was like a 5 out of 10. The most violent human motion ever measured is wild.
Kind of
I mean, sort of
like among typically non-violent motions.
No, but I mean, most violent in the sense that it's the fastest human motion that you could possibly do. It's the fastest any part of your body could move.
Yeah.
Is a Major League Baseball pitcher. I mean, we talk all the time, and as we're going to get to Tom, I see the hyperlink for Tommy John surgeries just 2 paragraphs below where we were just reading. But as we talk about all the time, the pitchers are pushing themselves to the physiological limits of their bodies, and that's why they break down.
Mm-hmm. It includes Fleisig's. They really just rely on Fleisig for this entire section because they list out his 9 recommendations for preventative care for kids' arms.
For kids' arms?
For kids' arms, specifically.
Well, you skipped over one of my favorite sections, which is all of the the mechanical measurements assessed during a pitching delivery.
Name your favorite one. I'm lead knee position during arm cocking.
I'm trunk tilt.
Good. No, actually, I'm elbow flexion during arm cocking and acceleration phases.
I like arm abduction. It makes it seem like I started with an arm and I leave the delivery with no arm.
Well, they've abducted
They've abducted my arm. Okay. You want to go to the 9 recommendations for helping children's arms?
Well, I just half of these things I think are largely debunked,
Avoid using radar guns.
Right. I mean, I guess they're common sense. Follow limits for pitch counts.
A pitcher should not also be a catcher for their team. Inspire youth to have fun playing baseball and other sports. That's good advice.
That is good advice. Also, if a pitcher complains of pain in their elbow, get an evaluation from a sports medicine physician. Also good, if your kid says their arm hurts, take them to the doctor. That's just good parenting advice.
All right, can we click on Tommy John surgeries?
I think we should.
I don't think that there's going to be a Wikipedia page for the internal brace. Based on some research that I've done in the downtime. But this counts. That's my take.
Ulnar collateral. Yeah, to be clear, we clicked on Tommy John surgery, but we got taken to ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction.
Correct. Now, let me read this real quick for everyone. Ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction, sometimes referred to as Tommy John surgery, is a surgical graft procedure where the ulnar collateral ligament in the medial elbow is replaced with either a tendon from elsewhere in the patient's body or with one from a deceased donor. Bet you didn't think about that very often.
I genuinely don't.
Which dead person has fueled your team's starting rotation? Literally claiming lives. The procedure is common among collegiate and professional athletes in several sports, particularly in baseball. Surgery is performed to restore optimal function for repetitive elbow movements or specifically throwing ability, often extending the careers of professional athletes. In many athletes, the surgery is done more than once during their careers. The procedure was devised in 1974 by orthopedic surgeon Frank Jobe, a Los Angeles Dodgers team physician who served as special advisor to the team until his death in 2014. That's a long-ass time.
Mm-hmm.
To think that Frank Jobe was special advising... I don't know, who's someone who got TJ for the Dodgers in the 2010s? Probably Kenta Maeda.
Yeah.
Kirsch never had it, right? He's had shoulder problems, but never TJ.
Should we go to his Wikipedia page?
It's named, of course, after Major League pitcher Tommy John.
So why
first to receive it?
I know this is not specifically the page that we wanted to end up on, but you came to the table without even knowing whether there was a page for it, wanting to talk about internal brace surgery. Can you tell me why?
Because I don't get it. And I wanted to learn more about it.
Okay.
Because I believe both Spencer Strider and Shohei Ohtani recently had internal brace rather than the full TJ. And Tommy John means that you're fully replacing the damaged UCL.
Right.
Whereas I think internal brace augments and reinforces the existing UCL by suturing it together. And that seems not... I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Glad that we're specifying that here in the end of this conversation. But it seems like it's a newer, less invasive obviously, because you're not fully replacing the tendon with the dead person's tendon or a tendon from the rest of your body.
Mm-hmm.
But the internal brace is newer and is becoming more popular, especially for younger players,
right?
Whose tear is not as severe. Obviously, if you rip through the fucking tendon, there's no point in suturing it back together. It's not going to regrow, or it's not going to heal. But Strider doesn't look like himself, and it took Ohtani basically 2 years to come back. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Not a lot of like top level older players who have gotten the TJ have had the internal brace version.
Right. So what you're saying is there's not a page for it now, but there may be soon if more folks are doing it.
In 2023, Jeff Zimmerman for Fangraphs wrote a story that was like
we're off Wikipedia?
Oh, we're not allowed to do that?
Oh, I just want to be clear. That's fine. We can do some external research. You can do some independent research.
I'll shut it down right now if you want.
No, tell me, what did Jeff Zimmerman have to say?
You're going to have to go look at it after the pod because I'm not trying to break some invisible rules. He just looked at 5 players who had internal brace. And actually, sorry, he looked at 9 players who had internal brace. 5 of them returned to the majors. Matt Bush needed Tommy John eventually after the internal brace. 4 of them did not return to the majors, including our beloved Sean Doolittle. I'm kind of fascinated by it because here's kind of the final reason that I'm fascinated by it. Because I think the idea now is that everyone's going to get Tommy John because of how people pitch now. And the underlying logic to that is that it's gotten so much easier and the recovery is so defined.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually don't think that stands up to scrutiny because if that were the case, why would people be trying a newer surgery? Why would you be risking it? Why would Shohei Ohtani, who had the full TJ replacement the first time, try internal brace the second time? And I think it's actually a lot. I know there's been a lot of conversation and a lot of rightful angst and anxiety about the health of arms in the last few years that's been present in the conversation. But I think it's actually less reliable of a thing and more miraculous each time a player comes back and is as good, or in some cases even better than they were the first time, than we give it credit for. And I think we got to do something about it. I think maybe like internal brace, I think the idea like you come back and maybe you're not the full version of what you were before you ripped through your ACL by throwing 101 miles per hour at 5'10" in Spencer Strider's case.
Your UCL.
Yes, sorry. Your UCL. And he's also not 5'10". He's like 5'8". Great mustache, though. I think the idea that maybe you should come back pitching slightly differently should become more accepted so that we start to kind of morph the way that we think about stuff and how we pitch. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Probably.
Well, I mean,
most people are like, Spencer Strider needs to get back to what he was before.
Right. Because that's just downstream of this idea that like you should be going all out all the time, right? Like that your value is derived from you throwing as hard as you can in a repeatable, optimized fashion.
Yes.
Which is like, I sympathize with the players who are sort of at, this crossroads of saying, do I do the thing that will allow me to do I do the thing that has allowed me to earn my worth, but also destroyed my elbow, or is there a better way? I'm curious. Someone should write a book about just like everything going on with the arm and stuff. There's a lot there.
But what would you title something like that?
I don't know. Maybe
we could work on it.
The graft,
the elbow,
the
what if we took
strength?
What if we took out the and just named it arm?
Fuck.
Drop
the
good.
The.
Drop the. I watched Social Network last night. Tensile strength is an interesting concept that we don't have time to get into because we're approaching 2 hours of recording.
We are, and I gotta say, I'm a little worried right now about how we're gonna get to DraftKings.
I'm not that worried about that. I think we could figure this out. I think the last thing that I'll say about internal brace and Tommy John and UCL reconstruction in general is that it's sort of wild that there's like, this is the only position in sports that you are basically guaranteed to get this exact kind of injury at some point over the course of your career. Of course, especially one that's like this traumatic. Of course, every basketball player rolls an ankle from time to time, but not every basketball player tears their Achilles. Mm-hmm. Not every basketball player tears their ACL. Basically, every pitcher has a problem with their UCL at some point in their career nowadays. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try to get back to DraftKings.
Right, because we've exhausted all the like baseball, just straight baseball ones.
Yes. We could go to Dodgers because of Frank Jobe.
We could. I wonder if the other one that I went to is 30 for 30.
Mm-hmm.
Owned by ESPN.
Oh, that's
sorry. Stewarded by ESPN.
Right. I see Bill Simmons' name on here.
who obviously have their own sports betting verticals. This is my premise. Because what we need to get to is the phrase sports betting.
Yeah. All right, let's go to ESPN. We'll go 30 for 30, ESPN. Now what are we talking?
Let's see. What do we got on the table of contents?
ESPN bet
ESPN
in the
bet.
contents.
Okay.
And now we go into sports betting.
Do you want to talk about ESPN at all?
No.
I don't.
I'm good. Oh, we got money line bets in here. We of course have spread betting. We have some banned topics. And on the sports betting Wikipedia page, we do see.
Where is it? I'm just trying to scroll.
It's sort of in a random spot. I did search for it. It's under it's under other leagues, and the XFL has a partnership with DraftKings, apparently.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Oh, right before the section advocacy and lobbying, which as of a couple days ago, I think maybe needs another line in there. We did it. We got to DraftKings. This is what we were hoping for.
Okay, tell me why you wanted to get to DraftKings. All paths lead back to DraftKings. And you wanted to get here because you have recently been on an amazing streak of betting on the DraftKings app that you wanted to relay back to people because everybody loves hearing about your bets that hit.
Correct. Yes. Drake is posting about the bets that are not hitting right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm only posting the winners. Did you see this? Did you see that his post where he was like,
"No, I didn't."
Just
see
wanted
Drake's
to show
post. No.
I think like Complex reposted or something like that. And
they
he posted,
always do that.
Just want to show you what the other side looks like. Hoping to get back to posting some winners for you soon. Dude.
Okay, bro. DraftKings Inc. is an American gambling company based in Boston, Massachusetts. It offers sportsbook and daily fantasy sports services. The company was originally launched in 2012 as a DFS provider, competing principally with the New York-based FanDuel. In May 2018, amid the widening legalization of sports betting in the United States, DraftKings began to expand into online and retail sportsbooks to leverage its brand awareness. We're just trying to leverage our brand awareness and customer base. DraftKings became a publicly traded company through a reverse merger with SB Tech, a Bulgarian technology company and special purpose acquisition company, also known as SPAC, Diamond Eagle Acquisition Corp. In April 2020. Holy shit. Let's go. So recently in the news, and I'm sure this is why you put them on your list, for creating a political action committee in order to lobby the federal government of the United States of America, the country that we currently reside in.
Mm-hmm. I feel represented, finally.
Did you know that in April 2013, Major League Baseball invested in DraftKings, becoming the first U.S. professional sports league to invest in daily fantasy sports? The investment was not disclosed at the time.
It's always good when you aren't disclosing what your investments are. I think that always means you're doing something good.
Why did DraftKings need a PAC? It feels like it's going without one.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I agree. I think the goal is to eventually reach a point where, let's say, you are trying to file
federal legislation rather than going state by state.
No, what I was going to say is let's say you're trying to file a claim for wage theft at the Department of Labor. You go to file your claim. Some guy named Kyle pops up and is like, Would you like a free credit for betting on Slovenian volleyball? Like, I think that is the end result of all of this.
Tough match the other night in Slovenian volleyball.
It was a tough match.
Legal issues section of DraftKings doesn't have headers. I wish it did.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about a bunch of lawsuits that they've been
right, and all the gambling addictions that they have encouraged.
Like, unable to get people filing for being unable to get their money back after having their accounts terminated. There's a lawsuit about apparently Facebook Pixel's tracking tool to record and send users' website and app activity to Facebook when you're using DraftKings. So it's like privacy information. It's just a lot of good stuff, mostly.
Yeah. I don't even think this is comprehensive because they've had a lot of different spats, and they've had spats with the Players Association, actually.
Yes. And of course, the 9/11 parlay,
which is on somewhere on. It is on here. Yeah.
Really?
It's under 2018 to present.
Sources?
No, it's expansion into sports betting.
But in the bibliography at the bottom, the article is titled "DraftKings apologizes for sports betting offer referencing 9/11 terror attacks."
Wikipedia says on September 11th, 2023, DraftKings issued an apology for a controversial promotion. Used the 22nd anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks to encourage betting on games involving New York-based teams. The promotion, which was criticized for exploiting a national tragedy for business, was quickly removed following public backlash.
Oh man! All right. Well, this was a good spot to finish. I appreciate you making sure that all roads led back to DraftKings. I'm going to read the summary of the path that we took.
Please, I'm kind of curious myself.
We started, of course, at Rafael Devers, and we needed to get to DraftKings. And so in order to do that, we needed to hit a few things along the way. UCL Reconstruction, Knickerbocker Rules, Oracle, and Commissioner of Baseball. So we went from Rafael Devers to Giants, Oracle Park, Oracle Corporation, check. United States Security and Exchange Commission, hedge fund, Steve Cohen, Major League Baseball, Commissioner of Baseball, check. History of baseball in the United States, Knickerbocker Rules, check. Back to baseball, just baseball, not MLB. So we did not violate the rule of going back through the same channels.
Correct.
Of course, we went to baseball metaphors for sex after that, and then pitcher, and then UCL Reconstruction, check. Obviously to ESPN, ESPN Bet, sports betting, and then DraftKings. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the first of what we don't know if there will be more of, Wikipedia Game on the Tipping Pitches podcast. I had fun. I feel like we found the format about 40 minutes in.
I think so.
Yeah, actually reading the first paragraph of the Wikipedia pages.
Very smart.
Sort of tough to follow without that, but we did our best along the way. It's all a work in progress, We're just trying to do what we can.
I learned a lot. Personally. I learned a lot about...
What was your favorite thing that you learned? Probably it's what software as a service is.
Yeah. No, frankly, the thing that I learned is where the term pitching comes from.
Oh, like throwing a horseshoe.
Like throwing a horseshoe. Yes. Well, and then I also learned what it turned into.
This is the first time you heard about that? All right. Thanks everybody for listening. If you need more tipping pitches in your life, well, we have a Patreon account, and it's patreon.com/tippingpitches. We have a new episode coming out in just 2 days' time, doing 3 Up, 3 Down, 3 things that bring us joy, 3 things that take our joy, loosely in the baseball world. This week with our friend Mike Schubert of the Horse podcast, of the newest Olympian podcast, of about 5 other podcasts that I'm not going to name right now, because if you know Mike, you probably love his shows already. He joined us on the Patreon feed live and in person, not live, just in person. But it was fun.
It was live for us.
It was, I felt alive in a way. Creating content with my boys.
In the manosphere, what you're saying.
Yeah, we have the manosphere being the studio right here.
Right. Some say we've made our own Freemasons Lodge.
I forgot that we talked about the Freemasons at the beginning of the podcast. All right. Thank you, Alex. And thanks, everyone, for listening. We will talk to you just a couple days on the Patreon feed in 1 week's time, right here on the Tipping Pitches feed.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping pitches.
Tipping pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!